So we are outside the Botanic Gardens. As we get closer to the start time, I'll make my way slowly towards the Botanic Gardens. But let me show you where we're standing at the moment. You get a really good city skyline from here. We're actually standing above a motorway, and that's part of the city skyline there. It's a bit noisy. No, Kate, it's not cancelled. Where did you get that idea from? Hi, Kathy. Hi, Kate. Hi, Maple. Wendy, Helen. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Doreen. Look at this. Look at this. 10 minutes ago, it was actually sprinkling and then the clouds just vanished. And we've got this gorgeous blue sky today. Don't have to juggle any umbrellas today, which is wonderful. Wonderful news. So this is the motorway that bypasses the city, basically. So you can cross the harbour bridge, completely bypass the city and head out the other side towards the eastern suburbs. Hi, Carol and Faith. And this is looking towards the eastern suburbs. At the moment, they're building an extension to the art gallery, which is why it's a bit noisy around here. So this is going to be the Sydney Modern. It sits alongside the New South Wales Art Gallery, just over there. When I finish doing these tours this morning, I'm actually going to go and check out the art gallery and see if I can stream from there. Because it's free to go in, there's a permanent collection. At the moment, they're running an exhibition on Matisse, but it's a little bit expensive for what I'm currently getting on returns on tours. So I need to build up more of a fan base before I can start doing tours like that. Jenny, it's worth your while. I'm really glad you feel that way. It's a really interesting section of the garden. The garden itself is huge, and we're only visiting a very small part of it this morning. Hi, Joanna. So we're 5 minutes away from starting. For all those who are interested, this is February, of course. It's the middle of February, and we're in our last month of summer. It's 22 degrees right now at not quite 9 a.m. We're heading to 26. It's really quite humid. Anyone who's been to tropical climates know what I'm talking about. The temperature doesn't have to be high for it to be uncomfortable. This is an interesting building here, the one that looks like it leans. See the one with the white on the right-hand side? It's actually constructed above a church, which basically means that it's invading the vertical space above the church. I don't know how they got away with that, but that's very interesting construction. And the one on the left is Centrepoint Tower. I don't know if you can tell from here, it depends on the size of the screen you're looking at, I guess, but you can see the outside walkway. You can actually be tethered and stand on the outside, just to the right of that red writing on that tower on the left is the outside deck with a clear glass floor. I won't be doing a tour from there either because you're not allowed to have any unsecured items, which includes my gimbal and camera. Hi Gia, hi Catherine, hi Una, hi Pat. All right, where are we? 3 minutes away from starting. I'll slowly start making my way towards the entrance gate. There's, I think, something like six entry gates to the Royal Botanic Gardens, and we're going to be going in through the Woolloomooloo gate. Does anyone need me to spell Woolloomooloo for them? I can do it, and that's a challenge. A lot of people can't. Hi, David. So the road we're walking alongside here is Mrs. Macquarie's Road. And Mrs. Macquarie refers to the wife of Governor Macquarie, who was I think I've got my facts right here, the third governor of New South Wales. And these interesting plants here are colloquially known as kangaroo tails or grass trees. And their botanical name starts with an X, it's pronounced Xantheria. Hi, Roby. They're actually past the flowering stage and have gone to seed. When they're flowering, they're really spectacular. They're covered in tiny, tiny little cream flowers, and the bees love them. Right, so with a minute and a half to go, I'll turn the camera around just as we're about to start and say hi to you all. They've landscaped this really beautifully outside the gate here, the Woolloomooloo Gate. We're still getting a bit of a view of the city in the background. Over on the left here, the gorgeous, what do you call those cactuses? The barrel-shaped ones, the ball-shaped ones, alongside the enormous flowering bromeliad. Looks like we are in with a school group. I hope they're not going to the same part of the garden as I am. All right, so this is the entry gate. I'm going to turn the camera around and say hi, everybody. All right, so we're just getting ready to begin. We're 20 seconds away. How's everybody doing? Are you all settled and relaxed with a nice hot beverage if you're in a cold country? Or a nice cool beverage, Rhonda? Perfect. All right, let's go. So, hi everyone, it's Lynn. And we are standing at the gates of the Royal Botanic Gardens in Sydney. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge that we are meeting today on the traditional lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Alrighty now, so before we start, before we go in, anyone who hasn't done a tour with me before, just pop a thumbs up in the chat so I know that you knew it. And if anyone, oh Jenny, hi, thanks for coming along, I hope you enjoy it. So we're entering via the Woolloomooloo Gate. I'm just going to get out of this way, the person walking behind me, let them pass. Entering through the Woolloomooloo Gate of the Royal Botanic Gardens. I'm no botanist, I'm no horticulturist. I recognise some plants. And if you see anything interesting, like these things, for example, aren't they interesting? I will attempt to find an information card, placard for them and help you out where I can. Oh, it's not a school group, but it's an organised function of some sort. They're all wearing matching T-shirts. Okay, so we're in the gardens now. The temperature is noticeably dropped. Perfect. The Royal Botanic Gardens is around about 30 hectares or 75 acres, and it is bordered by the Sydney Harbour and the Opera House on the north side. On the west, it's bordered by the city itself, and on the east, it's bordered by Mrs Macquarie's Road, which leads out to Mrs Macquarie's Point. We have this lovely fountain at this point here, and it's dedicated to a person by the name of Lewis Wolfe Levi by his family. Very pretty. Past this huge eucalyptus tree, the birds seem to love it. There's a lot of birds chattering away over here, alongside a Moreton Bay fig. So obviously these are both native Australian plants. Hi David, hi Laura, hi Shira. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. So this is one of the many research glass houses, hot houses in the garden. They'll obviously, it's a nursery facility, it's a research location and an education centre. And this is just another perspective of two of the city buildings in the background there. Okay. On the right, we have one of the older buildings that's now given over to, this is the Australian Institute of Botanical Science, operates out of this more modern building. And on the left, I believe there's an exhibition space and possibly even an art gallery with old botanical drawings, objects of that nature. And here's this gorgeous gum tree. I know some of you know them as eucalyptus, but we can't stop calling them gum trees. That's how we know them. Look at this. It's magnificent, isn't it? And the birds that I'm hearing at the moment, I think, are the rainbow lorikeets. And if I spot any that stand still long enough, we'll try and get a postcard of them. Good morning. Yes, it'd be nice to be able to save them, wouldn't they? They're always so lively. I'm going to take a tiny little stroll just through here, a little detour, because it's so pretty. Don't worry, we're not far off the succulent garden. We're actually very close to it. This area here just has these gorgeous, I don't know what they're called. These ones. There's a whole different range of kinds and flowers and shapes, all just in this little area here. Those ones there. Oh, the sun's affecting the shot, but there, that one. Anyone know what they're called? I'm looking for a placard. And then in the forks of this tree here, we have all these ones that don't require living in soil. They just live in the forks of the tree. We'll see more of those later on. Air plants, what I call air plants. Hi, Tian. And if I missed anybody who joined, it's because the sun is sometimes across my screen and I don't always see everybody as they come on. Just watching where I walk here. Look at this one. This one is just beautiful. Here we go. Okay, so in behind us now, we have a living fossil. This is the Wollemi pine. The Wollemi pine was only discovered about 30 years ago in a remote valley in the Blue Mountains, just to the west of Sydney. So we're talking probably 100 kilometres or less from Sydney, this city of 5 million people. And only 30 years ago, they discovered a new species of plant. There's an ant on my screen, go away. Called the Wollemi pine, that was only before known about through fossils. The location of the pocket of native Wollemi pines, because now it's been, what's the word? Propagated. And they're available in nurseries commercially now. I think I'm allowed to walk on here. I want to get close to the foliage and show you it's quite unusual. So the location has been kept secret. But during the bushfires just over 2 years ago, you probably would have heard of the bushfires in New South Wales in Australia just over 2 years ago. Just get this here. There was a very, very active campaign to save the valley from the fires because it's so important. This is so important. It's literally a living fossil. There's a memorial here to something. I just want to read what it is. I Wish, sculpted by Czechoslovakian-born artist Arthur Fleischmann, was presented to the Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney, by Leo and Ida Buring. Leo Buring was a well-known restaurateur, I think. Anyway, that's that. Let's go to the succulent garden just up ahead of us. Hi, Michael. Hi, Susan. Here we have our first ibis, nicknamed the bin chicken for anyone who's not familiar with the story of the ibis. They're a recent arrival in Sydney, very common in northern parts of Australia, but a successfully urbanised bird. They nest in the tops of palm trees and they raid garbage bins, and hence the nickname bin chicken. Oh, I tell you what, you're going to get some nice postcards in here. The sun's landing beautifully on some of these succulents. So let me show you this first of all. We're in the succulent garden now, and this shows you, first of all, parts of the world where the succulents grow. Flying rats, yeah, that's right, Rhonda. So basically it's indicating that the majority of the succulents and cacti are in Africa and middle to South America. This is the way the garden is laid out. So the orange section is given over to the American and New World succulents. The blue, which will be around to our left, is going to be a mixture of New and Old World. The green, also to our left, is from Africa. Then we've got the smaller sections of the Canary Islands and Madagascar. And I expect you to remember all that because I won't. And just one last fun fact. Did you know the red dye cochineal is produced by an insect that lives on a cactus? There we go. Let's go. So if I remember correctly, this was an African section. I can see something from Madagascar over there on our left. This one here in front of me is called an elephant's foot, and it's from Namibia. That's this one here. These are more recognisable to me, these kinds of succulents, the ones that you can just pop off a leaf and stick it in a pot and it'll grow. And looks like a similar variety of the same thing, another variety of the same thing just here. How's the sound, guys? Is everyone hearing me okay? All right, I'm going to just do a quick pan at this point because there's a whole bunch of different kinds of things around here. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. I prefer not to use a wired microphone because it tugs on the gimbal and causes it to do silly things. I'll only use that when it's windy. This flower here is really interesting. Hi, Nada. All right, We'll walk along this path here. This it just looks crazy. If a child designed a cactus, that might be what it looks like. And then look at this. We've got this long, tall, spiky thing with just the tip of something growing out the top of it. All different ways for plants to survive in extreme conditions. And check this out. This is like the living chihuly. Anyone do that tour of the glass art in Arizona? Look at this. This is the living thing. Hi, is it turquoise? Turquoise? Does anyone want a vertical shot of this one? I mean, obviously I can't get it all in one shot unless I step back a fair way. It's so interesting, isn't it? We'll get round to the other side of it as well. Okay, so it says here the most conspicuous representatives of the African succulents are aloes and Euphorbias. Aloes have large fleshy leaves and are best known for aloe vera, a product that is widely used in the pharmaceutical industry. Many Euphorbias have succulent stems and they are easily recognized by their poisonous, milky sap. So notice the similarities between the African aloes and the American agaves, between the African Euphorbias and the American cacti. So basically it's saying that we get similar sorts of plants growing in different parts of the world. Looks like my hair in the morning. Look at that, way up there. All right, I've got steps in front of me, so excuse me guys while I concentrate. I'll just take a little look to my right before we go down these stairs. Pretty much more of the same. So if we remember that the perimeter over to the right hand side was the Americas, and then the central part here was it New and Old World, I think it said. So and we are still walking past the Africa section. Let me walk back a bit and I'll get this one that looks like a chihuly from right over here. We might be able to get most of it in shot. There we go. Just amazing, just stunning. And then this one over here with all the new foliage coming out through the top of it. I'd love to have a full-time gardener, one who can plan and design and think for me, and I just get to enjoy it. How cool would that be? And here are the Euphorbias that they were talking about. This one here looks really nasty. And I don't know if you can see it or not because it doesn't have a very good background for it to contrast against, but there's a very large spider web just there. It's above the wall against the dark green background. He's got a good spot there. And these ones here. So this must be the African version of the Joshua tree. Look at it, it's just all trunk and then these small pockets of foliage right at the top. All right, I'm going to pan over to the right because I've got the sun in my eyes though. This quite could be an interesting silhouette for anyone who likes silhouette images. I'm going to do one against the sun in the background. There we go. I think that's an interesting postcard. You might disagree. These ones, look at these. Everyone knows what these are. Sansevieria, nicknamed mother-in-law's tongue. How rude. And I love these as well, these red ones. Here's a really, really interesting prickly pear. Look at all the fruit, the flowers. Are they flowers or fruit at this point? Look at the spikes on it. Here's a flower. Yes, but it's getting it, isn't it, Maple? It's getting at that fruit. That's the tricky part. Okay, let's go around this side. And we start to see some of the American Yuccas. I'm just looking behind me as I go, just to see if I'm missing any interesting angles. Of course, you can take photos as I walk if I'm walking slowly enough. You don't always have to wait for me to stop. Oh, look at the flowers on this. It's just, I think it was a week ago I was here. There was maybe half a dozen flowers on it. Look at it today. Let's do a little pan upwards. Hi, Ava. Hi, Camillo. Just going to pan upwards so you can see the flowers on this cactus. Wow. Beautiful. And then next to it, we've got this interesting thing, which is almost, it's just like a telegraph pole. It's just one single straight structure with tiny little flower buds right at the top. See if I can get the two of them in frame for you. There we go. It's an interesting postcard there, I think. Oh, this spider's been hard at work. He's created a city. Can you see that? Look at that. There's actually, I can see 5 spiders. He's created a little spiderweb city. And then growing over the fence here, look at the size of that flower there, just on the left-hand side, facing out towards the left. It's huge. And there's one in bud over on the right-hand side. I'm trusting that you can see it because the sun and the reflections make it a bit tricky for me. All right, we thought we saw a spider city just a moment ago. Now we've got spider state. This must be a good spot for catching insects. Look at this. Look at them all. Big one over there. Well-fed spiders, I guess. Here's another one of these ones with the yellow flowers. I love the light shining through. That one just there on the top right with the flower poking in behind it. Have we had enough spiderweb photos yet? Oh, I'm literally just about to break a line that's right across the path here. You probably can't see it, but yeah, there we go. I just broke it. Right, let's get a shot looking back this way because this is quite beautiful. And I'll walk towards it. Joanne, they're really not that bad. The most poisonous one is the funnel web. I think I've seen one in my entire life. And I live in the city that is supposedly their home. Yeah. And the other thing is that there's another one that you probably see photos of in it every now and again, called a huntsman. We used to let them live inside our house, and we had no cockroaches, we had no flies, we had no mosquitoes. And I know what I'd rather have. Look at that. On the other hand, I'm not sure I'd like to live in a place where there were bears. So, all you Canadians, you can keep your bears, and I'll keep my spiders. And we'll agree to disagree on what's worse. Love that. Look at that one on the left. Now, I think I wrote in the description that what's the connection between manpower and the succulent garden. There's a famous or well-known TV personality by the name of Jamie Dury, who was formerly a member of Manpower, and then he became a landscape gardener and got a gig on TV. And Manpower even toured to Las Vegas. Apparently, that section of the garden we were just looking at, well, I think it's this one. I think he designed this one with all the metal curves in it. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Joanne, but again, I think I've seen one snake in 20 years living in the Blue Mountains on one of my bushwalks, and we just stopped and let it pass across the track. Did you see that butterfly? He just quickly flew in front of the frame. Okay. So Australians like to scare people because it's fun, and they're awful people. And they'll keep telling you about all the things that can kill you if you come to Australia. I think they just like to keep it to themselves because it really is beautiful here. Well, if you've got a craving for prickly pears, take a look at this one. I'm trying to find a good spot for it though because it's a really dark and light really strong contrast between light and dark. So we've got these purple ones on this side. And they're huge. Look at them. And then on my left, we've got the orange ones. Hi, PJ. You've just arrived to admire the prickly pears. Whew, it's getting hot. Okay, so over here we've got these really tall, I think they're agaves, and you guys from the Americas can correct me if I'm wrong, with these really tall flower spikes. And then on my right, there's just another interesting perspective of the centre garden. Hi, Punkita. Deserts, yes. Okay, I'm going to pan upwards here and get another shot of these ones against the sky. They're really interesting colour, that sort of pale yellow. Here we are. That makes for an interesting postcard, doesn't it? A little different to the grey skies I had last week. And then over on the back there, we can see that Centre Point Tower again. And then there's these enormous, I think they're yuccas. I had a yucca in my backyard in Blue Mountains. Had no idea they got this big. More interesting cactus shapes with tiny little flowers right at the top again. And the sun's casting a lovely light on these. Are they actually flowers or are they flowers that have finished? I've got some flowers here, this really long flower spike here. I don't know if I can get a good shot of it though. It needs something contrasting behind it. There's a lovely yucca in the background. It's getting warm. I have a very sticky forehead. There's some more of those gigantic yuccas. All right, we're around the other side of the garden, the centre garden, where we saw those first prickly pears. There's another really interesting flower on the top of this small one just here. I think we did see it before. This one's from Mexico. Little purple flower on top. And then we've got in behind it this sort of fluffy cactus. Technical term, fluffy cactus. And last week when I was here, the flower spikes, these yellow flower spikes, were absolutely covered in bees. I can see some small insects flying around it now. In case you were wondering, that was a cockatoo that just flew by making all that noise. Yeah, and he still wants to let us know that he hasn't left the area just yet. And look at this yucca here. Look at it. I just can't believe how big they grow. Or have I got a different variety? Maybe I just have a different variety. And I think that one in the middle there is a Joshua tree. Is that right? Or is that something else? I have to see if it's got a placard in front of it that tells me what it is. Let me just stand back and give you a wider view of this area here. And we'll pan down the length of the garden. Hi, Carol. It's a bit tricky. All I'm seeing in my screen at the moment is my reflection. So I'm hoping you're getting a nice shot. There's a woman coming with a stroller, so I'll just give her some privacy, not intrude on her space. Oh, look at the flowers coming out on this one. They weren't here last week. So pretty. And then this is the one that I like to call the giant asparagus stalk. Like, what even is that? Is that another agave? And the base of this one, it's also organised and symmetrical and orderly, isn't it? All right. Okay, so maybe we don't have a Joshua tree in this garden then. I was there in Joshua Tree in 1992. So that's a very long time ago, 30 years ago. Let's see if there's a placard on this. Oh, I found one. What is it? See, that would explain it. It's a Dracaena from Canary Islands. So I was not even remotely close. And now that I look at it, it does look like a Dracaena. Oh, be quiet. Noisy thing. What's he got to protest about? Yeah, look at it. It does. It looks exactly like a Dracaena, doesn't it? They definitely are noisy. Who would ever want one as a pet? No, I wouldn't. And they live for a really long time too. I'm just plugging in my camera to the power. I love this. I think this is absolutely the most fascinating looking thing. Hi, Anne. Look at the foliage coming out from the trunk. Look at the shapes over here. It's a very, very cool looking plant. And this one is restricted to southern and southwestern Madagascar. There we go. I love this shot here with the light coming in through the back of the leaves. Okay, that just about covers the entire garden. There's this little corner over here, which I don't think we've really missed anything. I think it's pretty much more of the same. Just beautiful though. This one over here, this has a shot of the building in it. How amazing is it that just how different everything is? And more Sansevieras. They look like a different colour, maybe, than the ones we saw before. And this one has another really tall flower spike. It looks like it's about to actually open into flower. A little kink at the top. There you go. Potential pet. Who would want one? Yes, the song of the sulphur-crested cockatoo. Okay. Oh, this is very cool. Look at the light coming through here. So I promised you rainbow lorikeets, and we got squawking cockatoos. Never a dull moment. Just love the way the light comes through here in this one. That's beautiful. Listen, guys, I really want you to post some postcards in the Facebook group. And someone promised to do that for me, because you're getting to see and take all the photos that I just don't get to see. Okay, well, we're coming up to the last minute of the tour. I'm heading from here over to the Calyx. What is it, 9:40 now, and I think I'm starting there at 10:15. So about 35 minutes from now. It didn't have a plaque, so I can't confirm that, Maple, and so I'm just going to take your word for it. Thanks, Hillary. I appreciate it. Okay, so just one last shot before I turn around to face me. We'll be over at the Calyx in about 35 minutes from now, which is a really, really lovely exhibition. And if you're able to join me over there, I'd love to see you. Otherwise, if you haven't already done so and you want to see more of my tours, don't forget to follow me up on one of those buttons up on the top right of your screen. Thanks, Joanne. Thanks, Carol. And another Joanne. Thank you so much. And if you think I did a great job here, I do appreciate the small contributions that keep me going. Alrighty. Thanks all, and I'll see you on another tour.